Part 136. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1353. At this moment, all the Supreme Dragon Clan's God Kings and Heavenly Gods looked at Zhang Zizai with blazing eyes. This matter is so important to them. When the news came, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that the sacrifice dragon divine realm could really get the first place in the 49 sacrifices, and it was done by Zhang Zizai. At the beginning, Zhang Zizai was asked to go to the ancient realm just to let him experience it. This surprise is really too big, but in the surprise, there are also worries about gains and losses. Because of his special identity, the wishes of the Supreme Dragon Clan may not be his wishes. Especially listening to some God Kings who came out in advance talking about Zhang Zizai's attitude in the ancient realm, although he has repeatedly saved everyone and thwarted the conspiracy of the Hundong Demon Clan, his determination to kill the Immortal Venerable is not that strong, especially when he heard that he actually took the initiative to release the Immortal Venerable's disciples. This is already a signal. So, how much confidence the heavenly gods have in their hearts, they actually know, but this matter must be asked out loud. There was no way to avoid this matter. Regarding the Supreme Dragon Clan, Zhang Zizai had something to be grateful for, something to belong to, but also something to be annoyed about. Now he knew that he was not from the Supreme Dragon Clan, his bloodline came from the place of origin, and the clan there was his real home, so he felt even better about belonging to the Supreme Dragon Clan. But after all, it was also a blessing for him, so he was still very honest and said calmly, "I'm sorry, everyone, there is something more important to me. I asked Qingyang Taigu God to help me get rid of Yanner's reincarnation calamity. I'm really sorry, I don't want Yanner to die. As for the Immortal Venerable, there may be other ways to deal with it." After this sentence was said, the scene was dead silent. Their faces were very cold, some were even angry, some were helpless, some shook their heads and smiled bitterly, and some felt that it was expected and gloated over the misfortune. "Zhang Zizai, do you know how big a threat the Immortal Venerable poses to our clan? If we fail to kill her in this great opportunity, how many casualties will Zhang Zizai cause to our Supreme Dragon Clan? How many innocent people will die in the hands of the Immortal Venerable?" "You are so confused," King Mu Dragon Venerable said in a trembling voice. "This is not right, Palace Master. When you asked me to come to the ancient realm, you said that I could save Yanner as my wish. I came here for this motivation. This is my original intention, and it should not change, right?" Zhang Zizai said helplessly. This made King Mu Dragon Venerable even more depressed. He did say this himself, but who could have thought that he, who was still a god, would have a chance to succeed in the competition between god kings. Other gods wanted to scold King Mu Dragon Venerable, but they didn't know how to start at this time. After all, who could have predicted the occurrence of this miracle? This sentence made King Mu Dragon Venerable speechless. The matter has been determined, and the Immortal Venerable has escaped this time. Basically no one in the Supreme Dragon Clan has a good face. Forget it, go back. The Dragon Emperor shook his head. This matter could not be changed. It was useless to blame them. They had to think about the next step. Zhang Zizai had grown to such an extent that he seemed to have lost control. For them, it was not a good thing that he got the first place in the 49 sacrifices. Maybe they were thinking that if Zhang Zizai came from the Supreme Dragon Clan, he would be of good origin and of the same mind as them. At this moment, everyone would be happy. Unfortunately, the reality was not like this. They frowned. In fact, Zhang Zizai was too lazy to care about them. He just wanted to go back to the sacrifice dragon divine realm to see the situation of Yanner and the others first. If possible, he planned to take them away and never come back to the territory of the Supreme Dragon Clan. He and Zhang Yi were free now. He wanted to go to the chaotic demon realm, to see his daughter, and he also wanted to see the Immortal Lord. Now he has such capital. In the Zilong Academy, perhaps the only thing that interested Zhang Zizai was the magical Zilong Tower. The team returned in silence. In the Legend of the Void Road, everyone knew that the Dragon Emperor and his men were dissatisfied, but no one said much. This invisibly created pressure for Zhang Zizai, but Zhang Zizai didn't care. What Zhang Zizai didn't know was that when he and Zhang Yi followed behind, several gods at the front of the team were discussing in a low voice. I believe you have also felt it? He has obtained so many fortunes and became the first of the 49 sacrifices. Now I am afraid that only gods can control him. In time, he will probably become a god, and then he will be completely out of control. The uncomfortable thing is that because he grows too fast, we haven't had time to make him completely belong to us. In addition, the relationship between him and the immortal venerable, at least I think that he can not only not help us, but will become the biggest obstacle for us to kill the immortal venerable. After all, he is young, and it is normal for him to be bewitched and confused by the immortal venerable. Once the immortal venerable throws him an olive branch, he has no reason to refuse at all. The Dragon Emperor analyzed in a deep voice. I think so too. The immortal venerable is cunning and changeable. She used to look down on Zhang Zizai, but now she must change her mind. With the story between her and Zhang Zizai, and their daughter involved, how could the three of them help us kill the 9 immortals? At most, he would think of our training and not help the immortal venerable to attack us, the immortal Dragon Emperor said. Are you so pessimistic? The King Mu Dragon clan frowned. It's not pessimism, it's reality. This is a child who doesn't obey discipline. If we had controlled him with the soul-piercing magic needle before he entered the ancestral dragon tower, there wouldn't be so many things. Now we are already very passive, Shen Longtiandi said. It seems that we must take measures. After all, he has not become a god yet. We may still have a chance, but I suggest that we should not be too drastic, otherwise we may send him directly to the other side, King Mu Longzun said. Killing him is a one-time solution, Shen Longtiandi said. I'm afraid this won't work. What will the people in other gods' domains think? The Chaos Cave Demon clan originally wanted to fish in troubled waters and help disrupt the demon realm. Now we are even more despised, unless we put the blame on others, King Mu Longzun said. Killing her is a bit too extreme. It's such a pity. I'm afraid Qingyang Taigu God will cause trouble for us. After all, he just took a fancy to Zhang Zizai. In fact, I think we can start from a certain aspect. For example, didn't he use such an important wish to save Long Yan's life this time? That means she is particularly important to Zhang Zizai. If we can control her, there may be hope, Xian Longtiandi said. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 1354. Yes. Since Long Yan is so important to her, maybe as important as Immortal Lord, then if we can control Yanner and let her come forward and let her influence Zhang Zizai's thoughts, it's really not possible, but it's okay, let her die in the hands of the Immortal Lord and create conflicts between them. Generally speaking, it is safer to wait and see what happens. In fact, I am afraid of killing Zhang Zizai directly. I am afraid of the Qingyang ancient god and our supreme dragon clan Tai. It's embarrassing, King Mu Longzun said. What do you mean? Let the demonic dragon emperor use the soul-piercing demonic needle to turn Long Yan into a puppet. If Long Yan can completely represent our will and use it to contain Zhang Zizai, it would be a good way. If necessary, we can also, after executing a killing blow, once she dies on the side of the Immortal Lord, Zhang Zizai will have a deeper rift with that side, right? Shen Longtiandi said in a deep voice. First ask other people for their opinions, then send a message back immediately, and let the Demon Dragon Emperor and Demon Dragon Emperor also think about it. If possible, let the Demon Dragon Emperor take action directly and take the people away from the Ancestral Dragon Academy first, and then we will slow down and go back. By the time we get back, the new Longyan may have been dressed up, said the immortal Dragon Emperor. Do as you say and summon them immediately. The matter had been decided quietly, and Zhang Zizhe followed the team without knowing it. He just felt that because they were preoccupied, their steps back seemed heavier. In short, it took longer to go back than to come, and there was silence along the way. However, in the second half, the Emperor Xianlong took the initiative to talk to me. She spoke thoughtfully, had a gentle attitude, and talked a lot with herself. Overall, she meant that is, although Zhang Zizhe chose to save Longyan, causing the Supreme Dragon clan to lose a safe opportunity, it didn't matter. After all, this was something Zhang Zizhe had fought for, and he had the right to make his own decision. They did not blame Zhang Zizhe. So, are we still afraid that you will betray the immortal lord? After she left, Zhang Yi said with a smile. Zhang Zizhe felt that things were not that simple. They suddenly relaxed. He remembered that before this, their expressions were tense. They missed the opportunity to kill the immortal lord, and it was still difficult for them to relax. After finally returning to the dragon sacrifice god realm from the Void Road, the others dispersed. Dragon Lord Aoki came and asked, "Are you going back to the Ancestral Dragon Academy, or are you free to move around?" "Of course I'm going back to Zilong Academy," Zhang Zizhe said. After returning, he took them away and left directly. "It just so happens that I have to go there too, so let's go with you." Sometime later, the Dragon Emperors will definitely hold a banquet and invite friends from other divine realms to celebrate your becoming the number one in the 49 festivals. Aoki Dragon Lord smiled. "Thank you," Zhang Zizhe said politely. "You seem to have grown a lot after your experience in the ancient realm," Dragon Lord Aoki praised. Together, they flew along with the wind at a very fast speed. Dragon Master King Mu glanced at Zhang Yi and said, "King Tianlong God, it seems that you have made great progress in the ancient realm. Have you found the way to the gods?" "That's almost it," Dragon Lord Zhang Yi smiled. "I thought you were father and son, but I didn't expect Zhang Zizhe to be on an equal footing with you today. I think my guess was wrong, but are you brothers? Otherwise, how could you be so similar?" If he knew that Zhang Zizhe turned out to be the uncle of the heavenly dragon god king, he would probably be in disbelief. So Zhang Zizhe and the others just denied the relationship between father and son and brother, but they did not say that they were not related. After a period of trekking, we finally arrived at the Zilong Academy. The closer we got to the Zilong Academy, the King Mu Dragon Lord seemed to have some changes. In the end, he relaxed and said to Zhang Zizhe, "During this period, Zilong, there is nothing the Academy can do, but Yanner has made rapid progress and has become a god king. She has no place to go, so I will let her stay here until you return. She must have heard that you have received the 49 sacrifice. I'm afraid I've been waiting for you to come back for the news from number one. I really envy you young people's feelings. Of course she will become the god king. If she can follow Zhang Zizhe to the ancient realm, she will definitely make more progress." Zhang Zizhe also missed the three of them. He quickly rushed into the Zilong Academy. The Divine Soul instantly covered the entire Zilong Academy. They should still be in their Qianlong Palace. Sure enough, Zhang Zizhe's Divine Soul swept away, and immediately saw Lu Dingxing and Xuanhuan. He appeared in front of them in the blink of an eye without saying a word. When they suddenly saw Zhang Zizhe appear, the two of them were extremely excited. Lu Dingxing stretched out his hands, hugged Zhang Zizhe, and said, "Boss, in one word, awesome. Abnormal. None of them expected that he could do it to such an extent. I am so impressed that I am totally inhuman. What the panda said is right. He is so perverted. He ranks first in the 49 festival. He is invincible," Xuanhuan also said with a smile. "Your progress is okay. I'm back. It's time for you to make rapid progress. They are still a short distance away from the God King, but they are probably close." With Zhang Zizhe covering them, they don't have to worry about making progress. Once upon a time, everyone was at about the same level, but they didn't expect that Zhang Zizai would create such a big distance between them. One Yuan swallowing technique and chaos swallowing sky evolutionary source have changed too much. Zhang Zizai was talking to them, but Tian Zhenhun did not find Long Yan in the Zilong Academy. He said a few words and immediately asked in confusion, "Where is Yan'er? Why didn't she wait for me to come back with you? And she not at Zilong Academy? She was in seclusion before. I went to look for her a few days ago, but I couldn't find her. She's not here? That's unlikely. She doesn't go out often. Is she in the ancestral dragon tower or other places?" Xuanhuan said. He knew that Zhang Zizai had a divine soul, but he might not be able to enter places like the ancestral dragon tower and the hidden dragon sea. "Does she know that I'm coming back soon?" Zhang Zizai asked with a cold face. Because he already had some premonitions. At this time, Zhang Yi also appeared beside him. "Of course she knows. More than a month ago, she was the first to know the news and told us, the two of us. She was so happy at that time, and she said that her reincarnation calamity was gone. She knew that it was you who made a wish." Oh, this guy was so moved that she hid and shed tears. Panda and I didn't know how to comfort her. After all, these were tears of joy, right? In theory, she should be with us at this moment. Lu Dingxing actually knew more about Zhang Zizai's situation, so he also had some bad premonitions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1355. Uncle, I wonder why the attitudes of these people have suddenly changed for the better. I guess they have caught you. Yan'er is in a very bad situation right now, Zhang Yi suddenly said from the side. Neither Lu Dingxing nor Xuanhuan heard clearly how he called Zhang Zizai. Really, Zhang Zizai has an inverse scale, and now, his inverse scale has undoubtedly been violated. To be honest, he actually has no intention of dealing with the Supreme Dragon Lord. Even if it is the Immortal Lord, he will not kill the Supreme Dragon clan to avenge her. However, these people just like to control and strangle. He has no malicious intentions at all. At that time, they were still thinking about how to control themselves. To attack the people around him is to activate his reverse scales. This time there is no anger or murderous intention, and he is also angry and murderous. He actually didn't know that the Azure Wood Dragon Lord was even more troubled. The original plan was to send the controlled Long Yan here before Zhang Zizai returned to the Zilong Academy. As a result, something went wrong on the side of the demonic Dragon Emperor. First, Long Yan hid for several days with the heart of the Void True Dragon without being caught. Later, she was caught. When she used the soul-piercing magic needle, she discovered that she actually had a divine soul. But they have already taken this step and can only go one way to the end, so they can only forcefully suppress the soul of the god and nail the soul-piercing magic needle in. It will still take some time to completely succeed, so let him delay here. First just hold Zhang Zizai steady. He has been watching from a distance. He has a divine soul, and Zhang Zizai doesn't know his location. But as he expected, Zhang Zizai's expression changed after a conversation. This kid reacted very quickly. He immediately guessed that we were responsible. These people are really stupid. A god king has been doing this for so many days. I am really convinced. Now he has to take on this important task by himself. They thought it was not a big problem to hold back Zhang Zizai, a god king, but he had already developed suspicions, and they could only use Yan'er, who was well controlled, to dispel his suspicions. This is the only way. But he found that Zhang Zizai's state seemed a bit intense. Is he really sure that it was us who did it? King Mu Longzun was a little confused. Normally, he would not be so quick to suspect. He had no idea how sure Zhang Zizai was. What do they want to do? Zhang Zizai asked Zhang Yi. Maybe it's the soul-piercing magic needle? I can control Yanner with this divine weapon, so I can control you. But they should have been able to do it a long time ago, but they haven't gotten it back yet. I guess there will be a day with Yanner. The soul is related, but they probably didn't know it before. It's the soul-piercing magic needle again. The last time the soul-piercing magic needle had already made Zhang Zizai disappointed with them. If it was still the soul-stabbing magic needle this time, and it was used to deal with Zhang Zizai's relatives, then there would be no way to forgive him. This was definitely an inversion. Is a mortal enemy. Fortunately, Yanner has a god soul, otherwise, she would lose herself, but her god soul is not strong enough. If these gods have already taken the first step and cannot look back, then Yanner is still very dangerous. The gods of the Supreme Dragon clan never expected that they would speculate so quickly, because they didn't know how strong Zhang Yi was now, and they didn't know that Zhang Zizai had always known about the soul-piercing magic needle. He just didn't say it, and they didn't know either. What kind of strength does Zhang Zizai possess now? Speed up and get rid of the Aoki Dragon Lord, capture him and go to the Demon Dragon Heavenly Emperor, you or me, Zhang Yi asked. Zhang Zizai is so angry that he seems to be on fire. When he treats some people sincerely, if these people still use insidious means to deal with him, or even deal with his relatives, he will never be able to bear it. This is already if you break your principles and bottom line, you are completely broken. There are some things in this world that you absolutely cannot tolerate. Okay, Zhang Yi directly brought Lu Dingxing and Xuanhuan, who didn't know the truth and could only guess a few things, into his mirror space, and then locked the location of the Aoki Dragon Lord with Zhang Zi. He directly told Zhang where is Zizai King Mu Longzun. At this time, King Mu Dragon Lord, in order to cover up and relieve the situation, had already appeared at the Zilong Palace and was gathering all the disciples of the Zilong Academy to tell them that Zhang Zizai had returned and was in the Zilong Academy. In this ancestral Dragon Academy, Zhang Zizai is a legend among legends. Their old rivals, Bai Mu, Huang Fufeng, Mu Xiaoxian, Qin Yushan and others, can only look up at this moment, waiting for the arrival of that miraculous figure. He's coming. Amidst the noise, everyone was watching, and the world was cheering. The gods looked blankly at Zhang Zizai's arrival, with only wonder in their hearts. They were even speechless, because it was obvious that Zhang Zizai was completely different at this moment. At this moment, Zhang Zizai was in another higher realm. It felt like he thought the god had come. Let us cheer for the hero of our Supreme Dragon clan together. By winning the first place in the 49 festivals, he has won too much glory for our Supreme Dragon clan. Dragon Lord Aoki said with a smile. The cheers were endless until they saw Zhang Zizai's state. His eyes were extremely cold and even a little fierce. He appeared in front of King Mu Longzun. Then he said 3 cold words to completely suppress the cheers. Down. Where is Yanner? He stared at King Mu Longzun and asked. Yanner? Is she not here? Let me see. He pretended to search with his divine soul, and then said, Hey, this girl didn't come out to greet you. Is she too moved? Maybe she is in seclusion in Zilong Tower or Kanglongsi. Do you want to go and look for her first? No need, Zhang Zizai said. Okay, then say hello to your former opponents first, and I will help you find out where she went later. I mean, you don't have to lie here, King Mu Longzun. Zhang Zizai interrupted him. His voice was cold and gloomy. It was obvious that he was extremely angry and full of malice towards King Mu Longzun. He shouted out the other party's name word by word in public, which was also a provocation and disrespect. Zhang Zizai, King Mu Longzun was stunned for a moment. The other party's attitude was a bit too harsh, which made him a little difficult to explain, because Zhang Zizai didn't give him a chance to explain. Under the attention of everyone's doubts, Zhang Zizai immediately said, "Soul-piercing magic needle, do you think I don't know? I just don't tell you. Now I want to use the soul-piercing magic needle against Fu Yan'er. To be honest, I really don't want to be an enemy of the Supreme Dragon Clan, but this time, you did something wrong. You are so cruel to me. This time, we can say that we are done with each other." Everyone who heard what he said was confused, but King Mulongzun heard it clearly. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1356. His eyes widened instantly, because to him, this meant that their plan had completely failed. The foundation of their plan was that Zhang Zizai didn't understand the soul-piercing magic needle at all, so that he could control him with Long Yan and use a gentle offensive to make him think that it was all Long Yan's own idea. But if Zhang Zizai knew soul-piercing magic needle, everything they did has lost its meaning. "Did you tell him?" King Mulongzun's expression suddenly changed. He frowned and looked at Zhang Yi, and his tone was already very bad. It can be said that the gods couldn't hear the conversation between them. They could only gloat that Zhang Zizai seemed to have a conflict with King Mulongzun, and it was a very big conflict, related to Long Yan's life and death. Zhang Zizai had already said that all grudges were broken. "Of course," Zhang Yi said lightly, "you don't know who he is to me. No matter who you are, you have killed him now, and you are still complacent. In fact, you are extremely stupid. I fought for the soul-piercing magic needle. You are really hopelessly stupid. Zhang Zizai died because of you. The King Mu Dragon clan is very angry. All this has failed and been exposed. There is no possibility of repairing the relationship between them and Zhang Zizai. This means that Zhang Zizai can only die. Moreover, he had to take action immediately. He had no time to ask the 4 Dragon Emperors for instructions. But he was 100% sure that the 4 Dragon Emperors would not think that he had done anything wrong. As long as Zhang Zizai died, although they did not gain from him, they would no longer have such worries. "Oh, so your second plan is to let him die, which is a bit cruel," Zhang Yi sneered. "In fact, he has been here for so many years and has already seen through it. Everything that happened today was definitely not what he expected. That was also caused by your own cleverness. If he is gone, the history of your heavenly dragon god king will end here," King Mulongzun shouted in a deep voice. He was ready to take action. There is still a chance now, because no matter what these two people do, after all, they were still god kings, so he was glad that they had discovered the truth at this time, otherwise it would have been even harder to deal with them when they had all become gods and reached this moment. "Are you disappointed enough? Then don't waste time," Zhang Yi said to Zhang Zizai. He knew that Zhang Zizai had received too much kindness from the Supreme Dragon clan, so even at this moment, he was not completely iron-blooded. He might still have some regard for those kindnesses, but when the Azure Wood Dragon Lord finished saying this, he was determined to, after killing his belief, the so-called kindness is just a joke. "By the way, the 9 Dragons Chaos Divine Bell chose you by itself. It is actually the treasure of our family. Furthermore, this Supreme Dragon clan of the Dragon God realm was created by the descendants of the rebels of our family. In the final analysis, it is not we are of the same blood, so uncle, it's time to break your heart," Zhang Yi said. In this case, there is no need to consider Zhang Zizai's last favor, because the 9 Dragons Chaos Divine Bell originally belonged to their family, and this Supreme Dragon clan is also a descendant of the rebels in their family. All feelings have been torn apart. And from beginning to end, not much time was wasted. Good. At this moment, the anger in Zhang Zizai's heart completely exploded. However, King Mulongzun is still more ruthless than him. After all, Zhang is still more ruthless. He can strike faster than Zhang Zizai. For him, these two people are already 4 people if they strike with the power of the gods. Some people say all the time that the God King has practiced to the extreme and can be compared to the gods. But those who say this are not real gods, because the heavenly way of the gods is the power of the world, and it is a power that the God King cannot understand. The God King, the difference between a god and a god is the difference between a mortal and an ancient god, so you naive people actually thought you could escape from my hands, haha. King Mulongzun has completely revealed his true colors. Maybe the cruel and ruthless person at this moment is his true self. After all, how could he be a good person after all? Master Palace, kill Zhang Zizai and the heavenly dragon God King. I also heard that Longzun really wants to kill them. Oh my god, what on earth is going on? Did Dragon Lord King Mu kill Longyan for no reason? It doesn't make sense. Why? Maybe Zhang Zizai was too unfaithful and didn't make a wish to kill the immortal lord, so the gods have long wanted to kill him because they were afraid that he, a white-eyed wolf, would turn against the immortal lord and deal with us. This bitch is indeed a white-eyed wolf. Fortunately, she was discovered in advance. She really deserves to die. Kill him. I should have killed him from the beginning. Only now do I realize that this kind of person is a white-eyed wolf. He has received so many blessings from our Supreme Dragon clan, but he wants to deal with us. This kind of beast should die 10,000 times. Only if he dies, can the 9 dragons Chaos Divine Bell return to our Supreme Dragon clan. He has obtained so many treasures in the ancient realm, and they all belong to us. For a moment, the gods started to clamor. They never expected that the heavenly dragon God King would actually escape at this time. He dodged aside, leaving Zhang Zizai to face the Azure Wood Dragon Lord alone. Don't let the heavenly dragon God King escape, he is also a beast. They're all the same. At the next moment, King Mulongzun was not worried at all. A green spear appeared in his hand, and the spear was pointed at Zhang Zizai. A terrifying and strange supreme power appeared in this green spear. Walk upstream with a spear. His heavenly way, Aoki heavenly way, and his weapon, Aoki dragon spear. The power of the Aoki heavenly law circulated on the Aoki dragon spear, and the Aoki power that made the world and all things tremble spread. At this time, the trees between heaven and earth seemed to be summoned, became excited, and exuded the power of their lives towards the Aoki dragon spear. With his strength, when the trees on Huanlong Mountain in the ancestral Dragon Academy were dimmed by 3 points, his King Mu heavenly way was extremely rich. Death, King Mulongzun is old and strong. With one shot, the power of heaven is flowing continuously. Any god king in front of this shot can easily go through the heart and die on the spot. But at this moment, Zhang Zizai shocked him. His body directly transformed into four seemingly identical but completely different Zhang Zizai appeared in front of King Mulongzun, and they were separated. Control different heavenly artifacts. The 9 dragons Chaos Divine Clock, the 6 paths of Thunder Flame Divine Pillar, the Flower of Origin, the Anti-Chaos Clock, the Universe Cauldron and the Soul-Eating Sword. The 6 heavenly artifacts were distributed in the hands of 4 bodies. At this moment, Zhang Zizai, with his Holy Dragon of Origin of all living things body, was directly blocking the front. When the Greenwood Dragon Spear penetrated, he suddenly stretched out his hand. He actually held the dragon spear with the power of King Mu heavenly law on the spot. At that moment, like a miracle, the Azure Wood Dragon Lord was stunned on the spot. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1357. The King Mu Dragon Spear, a divine weapon containing the King Mu Heavenly Dao, was actually blocked by Zhang Zizai. Such a scene is beyond description. When people saw the dull face of King Mu Dragon Lord, they knew how miraculous such a scene was. The power of Heavenly Dao is really powerful. I almost couldn't block it, Zhang Zizai said with a faint smile. Don't look at him with ease. In fact, the Chaos Water Bell, Chaos Gold Bell and Heavenly Dragon Armor all played a role in succession, and then with the majestic divine body power of all beings in the origin of the world, they directly grabbed the opponent's King Mu dragon spear. It seems to be a simple scene, but in fact, the confrontation between the two sides has reached the extreme. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. You have the source of evolution of the gods. What kind of evolution source is this? King Mu Longzun was stunned and saw his 4 clones. These 4 clones were all clones. In fact, there was no difference between the main body and the clones, because they were all the main body and the clones. Although they were divided into 4 parts, they were actually one. You don't need to know, Zhang Zizai said. His 4 bodies had completely surrounded the opponent in the southeast, northwest, and northeast. Many heavenly artifacts appeared in front of King Mu Longzun one after another, which was enough to dazzle him. No wonder he was so dependent and tried to fight with me. It turns out that he has such a rich means. The soul of the gods, the heavenly artifacts and the totem of the gods are also half gods. He just lacks the power of heaven. But do you really think that the power of heaven is so simple? King Mu Longzun stabilized his state of mind and held the King Mu dragon spear. He just underestimated the enemy. Otherwise, Zhang Zizai smiled grimly. The next moment after he finished speaking, he had already taken action. First, he rushed directly to the opponent with the body of the holy dragon of the origin of all living things. He held the 6 thunder flame pillars in the front, and with his magnificent flesh and blood power and defense, he was like a giant beast, pressing in front of King Mu Dragon Lord, making King Mu Dragon Lord's attention on him. But in fact, Zhang Zizai attacked at the same time, but the body of all living things was the most forward. In the next moment, the body of Qinqin and the body of Time were actually approaching King Mu Dragon Lord invisibly. At that moment, Qinqin Ding enveloped it, and the blades of endless space cracks came out in a stream, forming a torrent, suppressing King Mu Dragon Lord. In fact, the origin of the world not only strengthened Zhang Zizai's holy dragon celestial body, but also greatly strengthened the power of time and space and the power of the soul. Especially after having 4 huge divine sources, the source of destruction of each of his bodies can actually easily crush other 9th level gods. The reverse chaos clock appeared at the feet of King Mu Longzun, and an illusory dragon swam on the clock. Under its control, the time around King Mu Longzun was all under the control of this reverse chaos clock. This was the most terrifying control in the world, which made King Mu Longzun sometimes in the mud, and sometimes flying like the wind, and the speed was not controlled by him at all. The reverse flow river and the broken world light were actually integrated into the Qinqin Ding and the reverse chaos clock invisibly, blocking King Mu Longzun. At this moment, King Mu Longzun had been greatly restricted. The key was that he had to endure the terrible suppression from Zhang Zizai's body and soul at this time. The soul body flew into the sky and rang the chaos soul bell. The soul-capturing mirror in its eyes was always locked on King Mu Longzun, and the illusionary sky eye was constantly creating illusions. The power of these heavenly artifacts was several times stronger than before the origin of the world was obtained. The sweep of spatial power, the control of time and soul, directly reduced the combat power of King Mu Longzun a lot. At this time, the body of all living beings rushed forward, holding the 6 thunder and flame pillars and confronting the opponent's King Mu dragon spear head-on, while the soul body held the soul-devouring sword, and invisibly killed the soul-devouring sword Qi and bit his heavenly soul. The battle broke out suddenly, and everyone saw Zhang Zizai's ferocity. After the real battle broke out, it seemed that he was the one who crushed the opponent, and he was the attacker. When all the heavenly artifacts broke out, under the control of the Qinqin Ding's reverse chaos clock and the chaos soul bell origin flower, King Mu Longzun had the majestic power of the heavenly Dao, and could use King Mu Longzun to perform the heavenly god battle tactics, but Zhang Zizai's 6 thunder and flame pillars directly suppressed him. 300 consecutive sticks, each stick made King Mu Longzun endure the storm, and he was almost restricted to death. He had the terrible power of King Mu heavenly Dao, but he couldn't even stop Zhang Zizai's power of the source of destruction. He was completely stunned. He had never thought that this little kid would become so powerful in less than 5 years. He was completely stunned and lost face. He knew that if he continued like this, he might lose the battle. That would be a big joke and a great shame. Thinking of this, he didn't care too much. In front of the disciples of Zilong Academy, he directly transformed into an extremely huge green dragon. The green dragon was huge and boundless, like the god of trees and forests. Its dragon scales seemed to have the forest pattern of the whole world, and it was endless. Endless vitality and the power of King Mutiandeo swirled in it. This is a million-year opponent, a million-year existence, and an immortal god. Every god is a myth and legend, and now he is fighting with a baby who is less than 30 years old. This is the Tai living beings King Mutianlong Totem, the most powerful dragon of the Supreme Dragon Clan, representing the control over the forests, trees, flowers, and plants. When its totem behemoth was born, all the flowers, plants, and trees seemed to be cheering for it. Many disciples saw the totem beast of the gods for the first time. They were shocked as they only had the totem god appearance. King Mulongzun was not only forced to take out the totem beast to fight, but also sacrificed his heavenly artifact King Mu Dragon Cauldron, which was his signature weapon. The King Mu Dragon Cauldron suppressed him and blocked Zhang Zizai's violent attack just now. His King Mu Dragon Spear was actually integrated into his dragon tail, making his slender dragon tail completely transformed into the appearance of the King Mu Dragon Spear. Zhang Zizai, I underestimated you just now. I didn't expect you to go this far. This may be my last chance to teach you a lesson, but it will also be the only time. You are so rebellious against the law and disrespectful to your elders. You have received benefits from my Supreme Dragon Clan, but you are a heartless and ungrateful wolf. A traitor like you will never die a good death. King Mu Dragon Lord roared, causing the blood of the disciples of the Zilong Academy to boil. They shouted for King Mu Dragon Lord to kill Zhang Zizai. Their eyes were full of disgust for Zhang Zizai and fanaticism for King Mu Dragon Lord. After all, such a totem beast looks too majestic. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1358. Really, Zhang Zizai's indifferent voice echoed in the world, directly suppressing the roars of all the supreme dragons, and then in the next moment, his human form turned into the 4 origin holy dragons. All living beings, years, heaven and earth, and souls all appeared. Although these 4 totem beasts were not as huge as the King Mutianlong, the Tai creature, each of them was extremely strange and terrifying. The added volume was almost the same as King Mulongzun. He actually has 4 totem beasts. Oh my god. Normal people can only turn into 1 totem beast forever, but Zhang Zizai turned into 4. Such a miracle is unprecedented. The evolution source of world origin has not even been recorded in the history of the 49 god realms. So they have no knowledge and understanding of such a heavenly god totem. They can only see that now 4 dragons are besieging one again. After changing into a totem beast, Zhang Zizai must be stronger, especially the divine body power of the holy dragon of the origin of all living beings is even more explosive, and the explosion at this moment is even more fierce. Even King Mulongzun couldn't stop the requiem of the Chaos Soul Bell. With the illusionary Sky Eye and the Soul Capture Mirror, King Mulongzun's divine soul was actually controlled by the left and right, and he often fell into the illusion without paying attention. If he was stabbed by the soul-eating sword, the pain of the divine soul would be unbearable. It can be said that Zhang Zizai's soul restriction is still the strongest. Of course, the power of time and space is added together, and the joint control of the Kinkan origin holy dragon and the year's origin holy dragon. Once the Kinkan ding almost covers the anti-chaos clock, When the storm of time and space is completely lifted, King Mulongzun's huge body is even more difficult to move, and there are countless space blades that cut it to pieces. He wanted to transform into a totem beast to resist, but the reality was that Zhang Zizai was stronger, the 4 origin holy dragons were more violent, and all the heavenly artifacts were madly suppressed, especially the 6 thunder flame pillars of the origin holy dragon of all living beings, which kept bombarding. Boom boom boom. What people saw was that from beginning to end, King Mulongzun could only take a beating. Even though he turned into the totem beast Tai Shengling King Mu Tianlong, although he was very durable and endless, the injury of the heavenly soul could not be stopped. When the soul-devouring sword and the 6 thunder flame divine pillars hit him directly, King Mulongzun could only scream. Zhang Zizai, he roared in anger, with suppressed despair and fear. Shut up. Under the terrifying suppression of Zhang Zizai, his King Mulongding was completely unable to resist. The disciples of the Zilong Academy saw with their own eyes that King Mulongzun was beaten madly by Zhang Zizai, a junior, and was covered with wounds. Once he could not hold on, the attack of the Soul Origin Holy Dragon would be even more terrible. The power of time and space continued to oppress King Mulongzun's divine body and soul were completely severely injured. Bang! Zhang Zizai's last stick hit his head, and the dragon head was almost flattened. King Mulongzun fell to the ground with a wail. Several disciples failed to dodge in time and were directly crushed to death. The disciples of Zilong Academy below hurriedly cried and fled. At this time, almost all of them had no blood on their bodies. Zhang Zizai, you dare to hurt me like this, you are dead, all of us gods will chase you to the ends of the earth. King Mulongzun was fierce on the outside but weak on the inside. He was still stubborn despite the heavy injury. He had been suppressed by Zhang Zizai's holy dragon of the origin of all living things and was unable to move. The counter-current river directly entangled him several times, and even his power of heaven was burning and disappearing. I told you to shut up. Zhang Zizai directly stabbed the soul-devouring sword into his head. King Mulongzun screamed and was dying. When the soul-devouring sword pierced into him, he had to endure the pain of the sword energy piercing the soul of the God of Heaven at all times. At this time, he could only scream and had no strength to fight back. He couldn't even maintain the body of the totem beast. He turned into a human form and was tied up by Zhang Zizai. You! King Mulongzun's voice trembled in pain. He was completely stunned. He never thought that he would be defeated by Zhang Zizai so quickly. If he died in his hands, he would be a joke for the ages. He could only shake his head in pain, tears streaming down his face, and refused to admit it all. He didn't admit it, let alone those disciples, such as Qin Yushan and Huangfu Feng, who were Zhang Zizai's old opponents. 5 years ago, they fought with Zhang Zizai. In 5 years, they hadn't made much progress, and Zhang Zizai defeated their ancestors. Such a scene, who can believe it? No one could believe it when they heard that he won the first place in the 49th sacrifice, let alone now. At this moment, everyone was like sleepwalking, forgetting even to escape, staring blankly at Zhang Zizai's 4 bodies combined together to become his original self, but no one would forget the horror he had just shown, and would definitely remember it for a lifetime, even for generations to come. He defeated the gods. This. People were trembling, they looked at each other, some people's words were on the tip of their tongues, but no matter how hard they tried, they just couldn't say it. They didn't realize that they were actually trembling all over, even their tongues were trembling, and of course they couldn't speak clearly. Wow! Some people were even scared to tears, they would rather they just had a dream. A dream that could definitely be called a fairy tale, a strange dream. In their eyes, Zhang Zizai completely controlled King Mulongzun, but he didn't seem to be like that at all, as if the previous battle had not consumed him at all. He was relaxed and looked at King Mulongzun indifferently. I say, what's the point of you going against the will of heaven? Now that we have completely broken off, you won't live long. What's the point of being a genius? You still have to die. Zhang Zizai, our supreme dragon clan will not let you go, King Mu Dragon Lord screamed. Why bother? I have no ill will towards you. Why bother yourself? No matter what, I will not take the initiative to embarrass you. Zhang Zizai shook his head. Is this up to you? If you want to blame someone, blame you for being involved with the Immortal Lord, and blame you for not being a member of my Supreme Dragon Clan. King Mu Dragon Lord laughed miserably. That makes sense. If they are not of my race, their hearts must be different. We cannot use them. We can only kill them to prevent them from changing, right? Zhang Zizai said. It's best that you can comprehend it. You can't leave the sacrifice dragon divine domain. The former immortal venerable is your fate. You exposed yourself too early. Now you are not strong enough. I am just the weakest among the Supreme Dragon Clan heavenly gods. There are many people who can deal with you. Where do you think you can escape? Longyan is still in our hands. Do you dare to run for your life and ignore her life or death? King Mu Dragon Venerable sneered. Their conversation finally made the desperate Zilong Academy disciples relax a little. It turned out that such a dazzling and terrifying genius was in the hands of their own people. With Zhang Zizai's temperament, he would definitely seek his own death. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1359. Sure enough, Zhang Zizai took control of the Azure Wood Dragon Master and was ready to set off. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Where do you want to escape? King Mu Longzun asked with a sneer. Of course, I'll trade you for Yan'er, Zhang Zizai said calmly. Oh, you have good courage, very good, the Cyanwood Dragon Lord smiled. Now the gods of the Supreme Dragon Clan are over there, and the 4 Dragon Emperors are all there. With Zhang Zizai's current strength, he can defeat the Cyanwood Dragon Lord, but he has to go over there. It was like a sheep entering a tiger's mouth. He wished Zhang Zizai could trade him for it. Zhang Zizai was pressed for time, so he directly carried the Aoki Dragon Lord and set off, disappearing into the Zilong Academy in the blink of an eye. When they disappeared, the entire Zilong Academy fell into a long silence, and people were still waiting for Zhang Zizai. Trembling in fear, including Mu Xiaoxian, Mu Xiaoao, Tuobaxia, and others. Back when he controlled the 9 Dragons Chaos Divine Bell, it had already made people tremble. But today, it has subverted the imagination. It will not take a few years for him to come back to his senses. Let's not leave, let's wait for the good news here. Yes, he is an impulsive person. Longyan is very important to him. Our elders control Longyan. Now he is seeking death on his own. Let's just wait for the news of his death. If such a talent dies, there will be nothing left. It will be as if he never existed. You don't need to pay too much attention to it. This is definitely not a normal path of cultivation. Many people find countless words to comfort themselves to cover up the fear in their hearts. Zhang Zizai knew that the news had already reached here from the dragon sacrificial masters from the Zilong Academy before his people arrived. They should have gathered at the base camp next to the Chaos Demon Realm, waiting for Zhang Zizai to arrive. Die. King Mu Longzun didn't say anything. He kept his mouth shut. He was worried that if he spoke too much, Zhang Zizai would not dare to go. He was really afraid that Zhang Zizai would suddenly change his route and hide instead of saving Longyan. That's what they fear most. Now they still have the ability to kill Zhang Zizai. Once he becomes the Immortal Lord or even surpasses the Immortal Lord, it will be terrible. The Supreme Dragon Clan will simply face a nightmare. But how could they realize that some things were caused by their arrogance? The soul-piercing magic needle had stung Zhang Zizai from the very beginning, but this time, it completely disappointed him. He once thought about their cultivation of him, even if it was not much, he would remember it in his heart, but when these good intentions were treated as a donkey's liver and lungs by the arrogance and self-righteous dignity, everything had lost its meaning. Zhang Zizai also said nothing. Now it is meaningless for the other party to apply the soul-piercing magic needle to Yan'er. Even if it succeeds, Zhang Yi has a way to remove it. When the news comes that Zhang Zizai needs to replace Long Yan with King Mu Dragon Lord, I believe they shouldn't let Yan'er die. He was too powerful in the ancient realm and had lost control for the Supreme Dragon Clan. They could not bear to lose control. Treat people sincerely? Zhang Zizai could see that there was no word sincerity in their dictionary. When he came here, it turned out that the gods were waiting for him, as well as nearly 1,000 god kings. Almost all the power of the Supreme Dragon Clan was gathered here, waiting for his grand arrival. The one at the front, they are indeed the solemn 4 dragon emperors. They must know that Zhang Zizai already knew all the details about the soul-piercing magic needle. He and King Mu Longzun had completely broken up, and there was no need to repair it now. So when Zhang Zizai met their eyes for the first time, he just know that they are not here to seek peace. In fact, they shouldn't even have the slightest idea of saving Zhang Zizai or explaining it, because once the soul-piercing magic needle is exposed, they absolutely know that Zhang Zizai will not compromise. Now the way to solve it once and for all is quickly take the opportunity to kill him. Not only will there be no clue in the future, but when Zhang Zizai becomes a god, there will be no chance. Zhang Zizai can defeat even the Azure Wood Dragon Lord, no wonder he is so swollen. When he arrived, the demonic dragon emperor spoke for the first time, with a sarcastic smile in his words. He did not expect that this boy would actually have the courage to come here, and they, like King Mu Longzun, are worried about Zhang Zizai not coming. To be honest, when they saw Zhang Zizai again, they had already felt how scary he was. Their preparedness was actually due to serious concerns about the young man's future. This concern made them so anxious that they just wanted to kill him immediately. "Where's Yan'er?" Zhang Zizai went straight to the point. He didn't want to waste any time with this group of people. To be honest, nothing could make up for the disappointment in his heart. Zhang Zizai once respected these elders, but now it seemed that their arrogance is so shameless. As he spoke, he continued to control the Greenwood Dragon Lord. The Greenwood Dragon Lord was still covered in bruises. Such injuries, as well as the image of Zhang Zizai defeating the Greenwood Dragon Lord in the image talisman, had already amazed them. The more they looked at it, the more anxious they were to kill. Now, they have secretly surrounded Zhang Zizai, and it seems that Zhang Zizai is unable to fly. The only trouble for them is that King Mu Dragon Master is still in Zhang Zizai's hands, so the Immortal Dragon Emperor said, "There is nothing wrong with her. The heavenly soul is quite powerful. It took so long to defeat her. The state of nothingness is also very interesting. If she wasn't so difficult to deal with, she would have been sent to Zilong Academy." Zhang Zizai felt relieved for the time being when he heard that she was fine. He got straight to the point and didn't want to talk nonsense. He said directly, "Then let's replace people directly. Xuanhuan Dragon Master will be returned to you, and Yan'er will be returned to me. From now on, all grievances will be wiped out, and you and I will, no more contact in this life." Hearing this, they looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. This was really good for them. They couldn't figure out why Zhang Zizai was so naive. Of course they were happy to change, but after the change, did Zhang Zizai mean to leave? Such naivete is a bit unbelievable, right? It's also written off, and they will never contact each other again in this life. They can't help laughing out loud. The heavenly dragon god king on the side was helpless, because from beginning to end, no one was willing to look at him, as if he didn't exist from beginning to end. In fact, in the eyes of the gods, there is no difference whether he is there or not. As you wish. After the immortal dragon emperor finished speaking, he had asked him to go in and bring Long Yan out. Within 10 breaths, Zhang Zizai finally saw her. Her face was slightly pale, and there were several kinds of heavenly artifacts blocking her body. However, at this time, the gods lifted them one by one. If it weren't for these heavenly artifacts, they couldn't catch Xuanhuan, who had the heart of nothingness and reincarnation. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1360. She is indeed quite strong. There is nothing wrong with her. The heavenly soul has a slight injury, which is not what Dragon Master King Muxi's Zhangyi said in Zhang Zizai's ear at the first sight of Xuanhuan. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. This is similar to what Zhang Zizai saw. 5 years later, we meet again. 5 years is a long time in their young lives. Yanner didn't know what exactly happened, she just knew that the moment she saw Zhang Zizai, all the worries in her heart disappeared, leaving only tears of joy. The reincarnation calamity disappeared. When she was happily waiting for his return, he didn't know why. These gods tried their best to catch him, especially the demonic dragon emperor, who imprisoned him for a long time and kept stabbing him. Soul demonic needle attempt. He failed again and again, but he never gave up. Just when she couldn't hold on any longer, he appeared. Just like in the dream, just like last time, he appeared like a hero. After he appeared, even the gods lifted their shackles one after another. Zhang Zizai didn't play any tricks. After they removed the shackles on Xuanhuan, he also removed Ni Liu He. King Mulongzun ran away almost immediately. As a god, he ran quite fast. On this side, Xuanhuan saw all this and the King Mulongzun being controlled. She didn't know what happened, but her instinct told her that she needed to be by Zhang Zizai's side immediately, so she entered immediately. In the state of nothingness, her whole body escaped into nothingness and became invisible. She once hid in Zilong Academy for several days in this state, evading the pursuit of the gods, and was finally discovered by the heavenly artifact. At this moment, no one could catch her. In the blink of an eye, she was beside Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai quickly took her hand and asked, "Are you okay?" "Well, I'm okay. They seemed to want to use something to control me, but they didn't succeed," she said quickly. She felt very safe when he held her palm. All of this was real. As long as he appeared, everything would be over. It doesn't matter anymore. "Okay. Let's talk slowly later," Zhang Zizai signaled to Zhang Yi, and Zhang Yi directly put Yanner into his mirror space, so that she would be safe. At the same time, the embarrassed King Mulongzun is also safe and has returned to the 4 dragon emperors. They saw the image talisman of the battle at that time, and they certainly wouldn't think that King Mulongzun was useless. They already knew what Zhang Zizai's level was. "Can you say goodbye, everyone? Since you have chosen the way of severing ties, this ending cannot be avoided. Although I have been cultivated and blessed over the years, I have gone too far this time. I can't stay here anymore," Zhang Zizai said. Even though these people hurt him so much, they are still kind. If there is really hatred, he will retaliate in the future, so there is no need to worry today. Time will tell. "You can go," the Divine Dragon Emperor nodded, and then said, "The 9 Dragons Chaos Divine Bell must stay. That is to prevent Zhang Zizai from leaving. If the 9 Dragons Chaos Divine Bell doesn't want to stay, there's nothing I can do about it," Zhang Zizai said with a smile. "Then just keep your life." Demon Dragon Emperor also smiled. "So, is it impossible for me to leave here alive today? Are you determined to kill me until I die?" Zhang Zizai asked. "Nonsense, we will not let the white-eyed wolf grow and bring disaster to us in the future," said the immortal Dragon Emperor. "What if I promise not to retaliate against you in the future?" Zhang Zizai asked. "You have to die too," said the Divine Dragon Emperor. His answer was decisive. In fact, Zhang Zizai also wanted to ask clearly, so that he would not have any psychological burden. No matter what happened in the future, he would not be able to blame himself, because they, a group of gods, did not give him any way to survive. I will take it upon myself to end your glorious life. You are so outstanding. It is best to be born in our supreme dragon clan in your next life, so that you can be of the same mind as us. It is such a pity. If we could, we would not let you go. Dead, the divine dragon heavenly emperor came out and crushed towards Zhang Zizai. He was not the Cyanwood dragon lord. His creation was completely different from the Cyanwood dragon lord. The pressure brought to Zhang Zizai was naturally completely different. That's very high sounding. Zhang Zizai clapped his hands. What puzzled the gods on the opposite side was that despite this, he was not afraid. At this juncture, what other trump card could he have? You know, all the gods have taken action, and they have quietly sealed the surrounding space with their divine weapons. Zhang Zizai will never be able to fly with his wings. It's a pity, although he said this, the Dragon Emperor used the supreme power of heaven to crush Zhang Zizai. In an instant, he wanted to crush Zhang Zizai to pieces. As the supreme dragon clan in history, the peerless overlord, he indeed has such power. Life and death are just between this line. The gods of the supreme dragon clan are looking forward to it very much. After all, killing such a terrifying genius is bound to be an exciting process. They can't help but use the image charm to record it. Seeing that Zhang Zizai was about to be crushed by the Dragon Emperor. At this moment, a man suddenly appeared in front of Zhang Zizai. With a smile on his face, he stretched out his palm behind his back and pushed it, suppressing the heavenly Dao power of the Dragon Emperor. He smiled and said, "You are really not nice. I have been standing here for so long, and no one has looked at me. It seems that if I don't show my skills, everyone will think I don't exist, right?" The person who spoke was Zhang Yi. Dragon God King, Zhang Junjian, Dragon God Emperor took 3 steps back. He was suppressed. At this moment, he was stunned and looked at Zhang Yi with a trembling body. There was an incredible expression on his face. He was almost stagnant, because as the person involved, he knew best that the other party easily pushed away his heavenly Dao power. That was definitely an opponent of the same level. But, he was just the Dragon God King. I don't use this name anymore. This is my father's name. From now on, my name is Zhang Yi. As for the title of God King, forget it. I am also a small god. I disappoint you, Zhang Yi said with a smile. However, no matter what he said, he was the God King of the Qingchuan small divine realm, the heavenly Dragon God King. He was the top God King and performed well in the ancient realm, but the problem was that no matter how good he was, even if he became a heavenly god, he would only be at the level of King Mu Dragon Lord at most. How could he force the Dragon Emperor to leave? The Dragon Emperor did not believe it. He pushed out with one palm. The mighty power of the heavenly Dao was like countless mountains suppressing and suffocating. Boring Zhang Yi pushed with his hand, and the invisible force repelled the Dragon Emperor again. When people saw the Dragon Emperor staggering, the heavenly gods present had difficulty breathing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1361. Zhang Zizai had already made them unbelievable. So far, they had not prepared at all. They thought it would be easy to kill Zhang Zizai, but now the unknown Dragon God King intervened and easily blocked the attack of the Dragon Emperor. People seemed to think that the Dragon Emperor was joking. The heavenly Dragon God King looks nothing like a god, but at this moment, the method used to block the attack of the Dragon God Emperor suddenly shows the power of heaven, which is incredible. This is impossible. It was not just a god who exclaimed like this at this moment. Forget it, compared to Zhang Zizai, the Tianlong God King's talent is very good, but it can be considered mediocre. Such an invincible existence, how could he suddenly be on an equal footing with the divine Dragon Emperor at this moment? This almost exceeded their cognition. Dragon Divine King, even the divine Dragon Emperor himself didn't believe it. At this moment, he clenched his fist and punched out with the terrifying and powerful power of heaven. The power of this punch was rare in the world, and it was enough to crush countless people from the 49 divine realms. This time he directly attacked Zhang Yi because he did not believe that the heavenly Dragon God King could have such means and abilities. However, under everyone's gaze, Zhang Yi faced the power of the heavenly Dragon God King's punch, but he still easily used his palm to push it away. The mysterious power of heaven in his movements made Zhang Ziyi feel extremely mysterious, miraculous, and indeed worthy of being an existence from the place of origin. This was their second confrontation, and an incredible miracle happened again. The heavenly Dragon God King still easily removed the power of the Shenlong Heavenly Emperor, and he even smiled and said, "It turns out that the Shenlong Heavenly Emperor is also, however, your power of heaven seems to be a bit weak, no wonder you can't even handle the small chaos demon realm." His sarcasm, coupled with his strength, can be regarded as making the gods of the entire Supreme Dragon clan boil. Such strength is no longer at the level of Zhang Zizai, who defeated the Azure Wood Dragon Lord, but the entire 49, the most supreme level in the divine realm. He is one of the top gods in heaven and earth. You are not the heavenly Dragon God King. Who are you pretending to be? The Dragon Heavenly Emperor clearly knew the opponent's strength. It was definitely the power of heaven that was on par with his own. This was definitely not the former heavenly Dragon God King. What are you talking about? Just allow Zhang Zizai to progress, but not me. In fact, my talent is also very good. In the ancient realm, the Qingyang ancient god appreciates me very much, so he accepts me as a disciple and helps me become a disciple. God, he allowed me to make rapid progress over a period of time before I reached my current state. Why, do you not believe me with this expression? Not only is it unbelievable, but it is simply impossible. The realm of the God King is the growth of flesh and blood. If there is any secret method, it may be possible to reach Zhang Zizai's speed. However, many of the gods present are gods. They know that it takes at least hundreds of thousands of years of hard work to go from becoming a god to the level of the Dragon Emperor. Cultivating, spending countless days and nights to understand the way of heaven, there is no such progress as the Dragon God King said. At this moment they were completely dizzy, but one thing they may believe is that the new heavenly Dragon God King may not be the previous one, but he is probably related to the Qingyang ancient god. Because Zhang Ziyu has been so blessed in the ancient realm, it is obvious that Qingyang ancient god valued his words, and it is very normal for him to send someone to protect Zhang Zizai. If this is the case, then they are equivalent to poking a hornet's nest this time. A random cat or dog can come out and pretend to be a disciple of Qingyang ancient god? Let's see your true strength, the demonic Dragon Emperor said in a deep voice. He and the others looked at each other. They were ready to take action today. No matter what the reason is, after taking this step, it would be ridiculous to turn back now. They cannot gamble with the future of the Supreme Dragon clan. Whoever he is, come together and kill them. If he is really related to the Qingyang ancient god, he would have announced it long ago, and he is still trying to scare us at this time. The more he scares, the more he is afraid, demonic dragon the Emperor of Heaven said. Although the heavenly Dragon God King is very strong, the key point is that they are now outnumbered and surrounded. Moreover, this is not a chaotic demon realm. The heavenly Dragon God King does not have the will of all beings to rise up. Even if he is strong, he is still very confident. It can be taken. After all, the power of the entire Supreme Dragon clan is now gathered here. The four of them looked at each other quickly. They were not decisive enough at the beginning and did not completely kill the Immortal Lord. They allowed her to grow up and then killed her again. They had already paid the price. Now that Zhang Zizai has not become a god, beside him there is also a mysterious existence like the heavenly dragon god king. If he doesn't kill him, he will really have no chance in the future. Only when Zhang Zizai and Xianzun are dead can they feel at ease. The Supreme Dragon Clan is an ancient clan and should have the dignity of a great clan. Do it. Under the command of the Divine Dragon Emperor, the four of them, plus other gods, understood it at the same time, and then launched an attack. All the gods, with the four Dragon Emperors as the main body, directly attacked without any courtesy. In the blink of an eye, they had all transformed into with the totem beast. Countless heaven-defying divine dragons gathered here, targeting the heavenly dragon god king and Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai did not expect that one day, so many gods would take action against him. This was enough to prove that he had reached a peak that he could not look up to. Of course, in such a chaotic situation, in order to prevent them from restraining Zhang Yi, the goal was to kill Zhang Zizai first. Zhang Yi directly brought him to the mirror space, where he was with Long Yan, Lu Dingxing, and Xuanhuan. They were also very nervous inside, and Xuanhuan hurriedly asked, "Boss, when did this heavenly dragon god king become so terrible? Can we leave today?" "Don't worry, you will know when you see it, haha." In fact, Zhang Zizai was not worried at all, because even if he couldn't beat so many people together, with Zhang Yi's strength, it would be very easy to take them away from here. "He has a new identity, I will tell you later." Zhang Zizai turned around and said to them. While speaking, he smiled at Yan'er. After not seeing her for a long time, she was still so quiet and ethereal. When she saw Zhang Zizai, she was most at ease. Now she had a warm smile on her face, and some of the torture she had suffered before had now disappeared. "When I have enough ability, I will help you beat up this demon dragon emperor," Zhang Zizai said. Yes, she nodded. No matter what Zhang Zizai said, she would agree. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1362. She is now a god king, and her future path to becoming a god should be smooth, because Zhang Zizai vaguely remembers that there seems to be a skill in her blood called refining blood into qi and swallowing blood realm, which can be strengthened by swallowing, and has almost the same effect as the swallowing of Yuanju, but she is not very willing to use it. However, there is no need to have these concerns. This guy practices the way of killing, but has never killed much. In fact, she is really a very kind person. While they were talking, Zhang Yi had already fought with the gods of the entire Supreme Dragon clan outside. This is definitely an unprecedented holy war. There are not many people in ancient and modern times who can make the gods of the entire Supreme Dragon clan attack and besiege them. In addition to the former immortal venerable, there is only the current heavenly dragon god king. Zhang Zizai could see that Zhang Yi had transformed into a huge snow-white dragon. His totem looked like a real holy dragon totem. He could control countless kinds of power. Ice storms, fire and thunder, wind and sand, water, the sun, moon and stars, all the power flowed in his hands, which was very similar to Zhang Zizai, except that Zhang Zizai's power was almost all changed to black, and with the power of destruction in it, it looked even more violent. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. This snow-white dragon soared between heaven and earth, quite brave and unparalleled, feeling like a peerless overlord. In this battle, the gods of the Supreme Dragon clan were numerous, and it was very convenient to besiege, but they could only tremble and realize that even the four dragon emperors could not defeat Zhang Yi at the same time. He is like a perfect dragon, with a very balanced speed, defense, and attack, without any weaknesses. He can dodge and move the opponent's attack, and can directly suppress the opponent with the terrifying power of heaven. In addition to the heavenly artifacts Taihaoshan Tower and Zhenhunzu that he used against Zhang Zizai before, he also has 2 or 3 more powerful heavenly artifacts. If he used them at that time, even if Zhang Zizai reached the state of reincarnation, he might not be able to defeat him. You seem a little weak. With this little ability, You still want to kill me? It's really boring. Zhang Yi is really strong. He said that he is a little stronger than the Immortal Venerable and the Dragon Emperors, and he is definitely not joking. He is too lazy to do it. Otherwise, even if he can't defeat the 4 Dragon Emperors, he can take the opportunity to severely damage other gods who are joining in the fun. The battle was so fierce that it almost completely destroyed the base built by the Supreme Dragon clan. Many nearby totem formations were crushed and destroyed. Wherever Zhang Yi went, he crushed everything, broke mountains and rivers, and destroyed forests in order to hunt him down. The gods of the Supreme Dragon clan used various methods, including various heavenly artifacts and heavenly fighting tactics to suppress him. All the totem abilities were superimposed on several types, but they were completely ineffective against Zhang Yi. He circled between his opponents, and occasionally made a move, which could make those gods embarrassed. Haha, it's fun, you are really too weak, Zhang Yi laughed. Don't hide if you have the guts. The Demon Dragon Emperor was furious. This opponent was more slippery than a fish and could not be killed at all. They could only let Zhang Yi lead them by the nose. You said it. Zhang Yi turned back suddenly, and the Taihaoshan Tower suppressed down, extremely fierce, as if the whole world was pressing on the head of the Demon Dragon Emperor. The Demon Dragon Emperor roared angrily. He had a powerful power of heaven, but at this moment he was suppressed on the ground and buried underground. Even the land was shattered within a radius of 100 miles. Suppressing you is no different from suppressing a monkey, Zhang Yi said coldly. This counterattack has made the Demon Dragon Emperor suffer. The key is that his face has been lost. How can he become so powerful? King Mulongzun trembled even more. He had a premonition that because of some decision-making problems, the future of their Supreme Dragon clan would become particularly difficult, but it seemed that this seemed to be self-inflicted. If Zhang Zizai had been killed before entering the ancient realm, there would not be so many things. What a pity. In fact, many people still regretted that they were not decisive enough at the time, which led to such embarrassment at the moment. This is definitely not the heavenly dragon god king. He definitely doesn't have such strength. If he has such strength, how could he be a god king of a small divine domain? Who are you? The Dragon Emperor found out during the battle that the guy in front of him was stronger than himself. What an incredible thing. I've changed my name to Zhang Yi now. As for my origin, I'm a disciple of the Qingyang ancient god. So, you still don't believe it? That's all I can do. In addition, the Qingyang ancient god has already taken a fancy to Zhang Zizai. He will never die in this life. It will only be more ridiculous if you keep doing it. Haha. Zhang Yi laughed while crushing his opponent. Most of the time, he didn't fight the 4 Dragon Emperors head-on, but dodged attacks and looked for other gods to suppress him, which was very troublesome. To put it bluntly, you are too ruthless and stupid. Zhang Zizai never had any ill intentions. He is a grateful person. He has always been helping others in the ancient realm. But because of your stupidity and ruthlessness, he is extremely disappointed in you. The soul-piercing needle was enough to make him sad, but you used it a second time, and even used it on the people around him. It's really ignorant and cold-blooded. To be honest, no matter what the situation of the Supreme Dragon clan will be in the future, no matter whether you live or die, you deserve it. Because of your arrogance, you personally trained him to become the enemy of the Supreme Dragon clan. It's ridiculous and pathetic. Although these words are unpleasant to hear, they are what really makes the gods despair. However, this is the decision made by the 4 Dragon Emperors. Don't listen to his nonsense. Zhang Zizai has such a relationship with the Immortal Lord. He will come to this step sooner or later. Our decision is not wrong. The mistake is that we didn't expect this person to exist, Shen Longtiandi said coldly. It's really stubborn. It still makes people disappointed. A bunch of idiots. Zhang Yi shook his head helplessly. Let's go, Zhang Zizai said. Today's goal has been achieved. Now they can't do anything to Zhang Yi in the battle. So many gods can't take Zhang Yi together. It's even more difficult to kill Zhang Zizai. At this moment, Zhang Zizai is too lazy to kill them. If the conflict continues, he may choose to do it himself one day in the future. Anyway, everything he did this time has made him completely give up on the Supreme Dragon Clan. Okay, it was still very simple for Zhang Yi to get out of the battle. He broke through the encirclement directly, and even Shen Longtiandi couldn't catch up. All you self-righteous fools, Zhang Zizai asked me to tell you that he has cut off all ties with you from now on. If you still pester him, he will choose to make you pay the price. When Zhang Yi left, his voice still echoed between heaven and earth. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels.